A while ago I was living in Chalk Farm, just down the road from Camden in London, and I was living with a really nice woman at the time, and we had a domestic, a row if you like, and we kind of hatched our differences up, but what we decided to do was basically go out to the pub and watch a band. So we normally went up the road to the Lock Tavern, but they didn't have anything going on there. They didn't usually have bands, so we went up to the Carnarvon Castle, and we're joining the queue to get in, and I put my hand in my pocket to get some money out, and as I pull my hand out of my pocket, for some reason my handkerchief comes out and a load of coins fall on the floor, so I bend down and pick them up, and as I raise up from the ground, my eyes meet the eyes of one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. And she looked at me really intensely, and I've been told that sometimes Scorpio women do that, if you're into that sort of thing. But being the kind of belligerent fellow I wasn't going to be outstared by anybody, so I kind of looked back at her in the same way. And obviously I found her very attractive, and I felt the feeling was kind of mutual. It was a bit of a strange thing going on there, and really for a few moments there was just basically the two of us in this kind of crowded hallway where people were queuing up to get in to look at the gig. Anyway, the next thing I know, I've got this sort of tug on my sleeve, the woman I'm with, who I'd had the domestic with earlier, who kind of clocked this, and I hurriedly sort of paid the money, and in we go, and go up to the bar to get a drink, and we find a table and sort of sit down, and she says to me, "You fancy her, don't you?" I go, "Don't be silly, sit down, have a drink," and all the other stuff. Lying, because it's obvious. And this girl walks in, and she's videoing the band. And so, in a sense, I can kind of look over in that direction and see her, because it's in the direction of the band without it being too obvious. But I think that would be underrating that thing called women's intuition quite considerably, which is a foolish thing to do. Anyway, the evening goes on, and she keeps looking back at me, this woman, and I can't help but look at her, and the band finish and the pub begins to empty, and this has never happened to me before, really. This is really quite a powerful thing, and I felt it was a two-way thing, and in the end, the band have more or less packed up, and this girl's kind of leaning at the bar, looking at me as if to say, "Well, what are you going to do?" So I'm in this dilemma. I'm in a dilemma, really, where I either leave with the girl I arrived with, or I say to the girl I arrived with, "Look, something's happened this evening. I'm really sorry. Yeah, there's something happening between me and this woman. I've got to check it out." It's a difficult situation. So that was the dilemma, and I did, in the end, do what some people would say, the decent thing, and left with the woman that I'd arrived with, walking straight past this woman whose eyes I'd gazed into so deeply. And anyway, I went back home, and the next morning we had another domestic, and she threw me out. So I went up to the Carnarvon Castle again in the hopes of seeing the woman whose eyes I'd gazed into the night before. She wasn't there that night. She wasn't there any other night. And a while later, as I said, us musicians, I guess you can look at it two ways. We're either chronically self-obsessed, or being true to the bardic tradition, we realise there's nothing special and different about us at all, really. That other people feel the same things that we do, it's just that we kind of write them down, and maybe there are other people out there who've had the same experience, and by encapsulating it in a song, it's able to kind of preserve that experience in some way, and keep that memory emotionally alive, which is what I do as a musician. So anyway, that's the song, When I Saw Your Face. That's the story behind the song. And as I said, a while later, I was going through a very difficult time in my life, and I was processing these regrets. And obviously I had this regret. I wonder what would have happened if I'd have had the courage to dump the woman there and there I'd arrived with, knowing that we just had a domestic and it wasn't working out, and took a chance on a woman I hadn't even talked to, whose eyes I just gazed into. So I guess there's part of me regretted, I feel like a little yellow line behind my back. And so I put it in the song, and that's emotionally basically what this song is about. When I Saw Your Face. When I saw your face, suddenly I was out in space, and I knew that you had touched me deep inside, and the world stood still like a sunset that's overkill, and I knew you felt the same way too inside. I never had no warning, this love was only dawning, so why did I turn and walk away? A woman stood beside me, she held my hand so tightly, and I couldn't give the game away. Oh, and day by day, this memory never fades away, and I see your face on the faces that pass by, and I sometimes sigh, the gift of love I let pass me by is out there somewhere. Could we ever meet again? I never had no warning, this love was only dawning, and only a fool would walk away. So now I sit and wonder what kind of spell I'm under. And did you think of me today?
I sometimes wonder if you and I in another place and time had loved before. And if this were true, then a promise I'll make to you: I'll see you when I pass on through the sky. And I never had the chance to say goodbye.